Jordan, let me see. There he is.
Hey, what's up, brother?
With the Oakland hat, bro. Look at that.
Rep the Bay, always.
To all of you that are watching this live, I want you to know that I grew up one of the biggest A's fans during the Canseco, McGuire, and Ricky Henderson era. But if you guys are younger than 30, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah, people don't know that Splash Brothers is a play on words on the Bass Brothers.
That's it, man. I love that, bro. Hey, 40-40 Club, right?
Right.
That's awesome,
sure.
man. So, Jordan, thanks for jumping on this live. Real shout out, real quickly. License to Sell. You guys, if you don't know License to Sell, make sure you hit him up. Bobby Akbari, he's running our Phoenix, Arizona operations out there. So, Bobby, he's killing it. Make sure to give him a follow and a shout out. So, Jordan, thanks for jumping on this live, man. I've been following you for some time. I know we connected through social media. We were going to connect at a Tom Ferry event at the summit that unfortunately you weren't able to make it down to. So tell me, with this current environment, how are you applying it towards building your business? What are you doing? What's working? What's not? Or is it too new to ask?
Well, no, it's happening as we speak, right? And first of all, I just want to say thank you for everything that you do, all your stuff, your positivity, and you know, you share a lot of information that I don't even know how much people realize that you're giving away as value for agents.
Thank you so much, man.
And the public as well. So I appreciate you and your team. You know, for us, it's yeah, for sure. For us, we're being creative. You know, we're using Zoom more than ever, both on the real estate side and on the financial insurance side. And, you know, it's an antiquated industry. Both of them kind of are, right? It's kind of old school, a lot of legal, a lot of compliance issues when it comes to social media and technology. So, but both industries are actually modernizing as we speak and we have already been having these conversations. And I know you, obviously, with the Agent 2021 stuff, and Tom and Gary Vee, those guys have already been seeing things ahead of time. And now agents and professionals and clients are being forced like never before to actually consider this. Most people are used to going into a bank. You know, I went into a bank a couple weeks ago in San Jose. It was a Chase Bank. And literally there was no tellers. It was just ATMs inside the bank. I'm like, what's the point of even having, there was like a few people working, but they were like at a desk. And the point is everything, especially obviously in Silicon Valley, they kind of test everything in California and New York before they bring it to the rest of the market. But, you know, I was able to, fortunately, so just to give an update, yesterday I actually was able to close for buyers here in Monterey.
Congrats.
Thank you.
What city, Jordan?
Salinas in Monterey County.
Salinas. Awesome. Okay.
So now, obviously, a lot of the inspections had already been done. The tours had already been done. But when it came down to the processing of the actual business, we were able to do it remotely. And it was crazy because literally the head lending officer was on vacation in Mexico. The escrow officer was just getting back from vacation. I don't know why everybody decided to go on vacation, but luckily between email and some FaceTimes and some phone calls, we were able to get most of it done. And yeah, so a lot of the counties right now in California are closed, but most, because title and escrow and lending is considered kind of like banking. So a lot of those are able to still do e-recordings. So electronic, pretty much anything financial can be done electronically now.
I smile because you said kind of like banking, so I like they squeeze themselves in there, man. I like your style.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when we think of banking, we think of checking and savings, right? We think of traditional things, but mortgages obviously fall in that category. And now with escrow, it's an essential function. So, you know, I was just out. I had to go. I went with my brother to the bank just earlier today, and I haven't left the house in a few days. I've literally just been getting up and pretty much working on my phone and computer and getting outside when I can. But it's crazy. It's still possible.
So couple questions for you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you sharing. One is when you first lived me, you were outside. So why are you not quarantined, man? What are you doing out there?
Oh no! I'm fortunate to live in the country, so I have like an acre. So I have
in California, acres.
Well, it's not my home, but it's a friend of mine's home that I rent. But
I'm teasing, man.
So an acre in Orange County is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, it is. No, we don't have acres out here, bro. And if you do, you're spending more than an arm and a leg for one. So here's the question for you: what are maybe your top 3 tips or practices that you'd recommend to not really someone who's brand new in the game, but an entrepreneur that is new to this environment, because I know you've been operating like we've needed to be mobile anyway. So what are maybe top 2 or 3, tactics or strategies that you'd recommend? Hey, this is what we're going to do, and it's working for you.
Well, and I'm just going to be very candid because I think it's serious times. This is the time. I'm the kind of person that I should have been much more successful sooner than I have been, but I've been dragging my feet for personal reasons. And this industry means a lot to me for personal reasons. My mom passed away from pancreatic cancer a couple of years ago, and she actually was an agent. And I had gotten licensed and got a policy just to kind of support her and her business, but never really took it seriously. And fortunately, she had some life insurance with Transamerica, but she didn't have a will. She didn't have any funeral arrangements. She didn't have any kind of plan. And so for me, it was a wake-up call of like, wow. And then I said, I'll handle everything. Like, I'm just kind of that person in my family, right? And my siblings were in agreement, so I handled all the financial aspects. And my dad's from Mexico, but I am American, English first language. I speak Spanish, but I was struggling with basic things, going to a bank and getting shut down because even though I had power of attorney, it wasn't valid when she passed away. Well, I didn't know that. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, nobody knows these basic things.
Yeah, a lot of people who are watching this have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right. So all of a sudden, for me, I'm someone who has a good reputation in the community. I have a lot of people that trust me. So I was very careful to jump right into real estate or jump right into financial services because the best thing about these opportunities is anyone can do them. It's also the worst thing about this is that anyone can do them. And a lot of times people that are drawn toward real estate and financial services are very money motivated, which in and of itself is not bad, but people sometimes can be unethical. And so sometimes the industry doesn't have the best reputation. And so for me, I was like, I don't want to get into something unless I can really help people. Once I realized, holy shit, people are not financially ready. Either they don't have the income, or even if they do have the assets and the income, they don't have their house in order, so to speak. They don't have a will. They don't have a medical directive. They don't have a financial plan in place. People don't understand probate. People don't understand. I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I'm just in my own experience firsthand had to go through this stuff, and it was a wake-up call. So that's what I've been working on the last few years. And I think for me, my background is more in a community oriented. I've been a coach and that kind of stuff. And so people naturally trust me. And I think you also give off that vibe. I think that's why social media is important, because there's a lot of these guys that are, and again, no offense to anyone, but a lot of the people that are drawn to entrepreneurism right now are these young hustler guys, these Bitcoin guys, these I'm 20 years old and I'm a financial advisor on YouTube and I drive a Lamborghini type guys. And I'm like, I wouldn't feel comfortable recommending that person to my grandmother to help her with her assets, And so, but a lot of times people that maybe are good people that want to help people, and again, nothing wrong with those guys. That's just a different demographic. People that do care and will do the right thing are more quiet. They're more timid. Maybe they're a little uncomfortable being on social media. Maybe they're a little bit, they don't want to seem pushy and they don't want to reach out when really they have the solution for people. And when something shifted in me recently where I realized, hey, instead of looking at it as I don't want to be pushy or I don't want to be salesy, it's I don't want them to fall into the wrong hands. If they're my friends, if they're my family, I can't guarantee the service or the integrity of anyone else. And there are some really great people in the financial services and real estate industry. There's also some unethical people in those worlds, just like any other profession. But the thing is, if you have an unethical person at a regular job, it's whatever. It's not that big a deal. When it comes to real estate and financial services, you're literally dealing with people's legacies and livelihoods. And there's people whose 401ks are in the market right now because some advisor is making commissions on every trade, and they don't realize that their account's not actively managed, and they're just assuming it's going to be there when they retire, and they just lost
at
six figures.
40% of it.
40%. Whatever's been gained in the last 4 years was just lost in 1 week.
Amazing. And I think it's actually plummeting now during after hours still. So
the point is, most people don't even know who they're going to call to find out about what's going on with their account. So we have to be aggressive. If you're someone who actually cares about people and is compassionate, the money will come. You're going to have the opportunity to recruit like never before because people are going to be without a job. My background is in events and marketing and hospitality, and that industry is going to be completely just devastated.
I agree.
And so there's going to be a lot of opportunity for people. So I think it's a time to be aggressive with your marketing, but also with compassion and just kind of keeping it real for people, and not being, not taking advantage of people, but giving people hope and a way out. And it's time for people like yourself, like myself, who really do care, who also understand technology, to put ourselves out there. And that's why I said, I was like, oh, I want to do a vlog, I want to do a podcast, but of course, like, you want to wait till it's perfect. You want to wait till you have all the equipment. You know how Gary says, just freaking start.
Do it.
And so I'm like, that's why I reached out. I was like, dude, let's just start. Like, we'll start somewhere,
You rock, Jordan.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you that just jumped on this live, I'm connecting with Jordan right here in Northern California. I'm in Southern California, and we're talking about best practices during the current climate. Jordan and myself, we're both real estate. Are you a broker or agent, Jordan?
I'm an agent, both. I have my life license and I have my real estate license.
Awesome.
As an agent,
yeah. In this current era, though, almost like brokers, they're relevant even in the real estate space, other than taking on liability. However,
right.
We're both real estate insurance practitioners, and we're discussing some best practices. So if you want to jump on this live or you want to share any questions, by all means, comment. Ask anything you'd like, and also request to jump on this. So, Jordan, first best practice was, you mentioned, to leverage social media in your favor. Are there any maybe special tactics or anything outside of that you can add, maybe second and third, like top three?
I would say, pick one. I feel comfortable on most platforms, but at least pick one that you're very comfortable with. I feel like LinkedIn is great, but it's also very informal. Rarely are people there that you really know personally, right? Personal relationships are probably going to be more on Facebook and Instagram. For like Twitter and LinkedIn are more informal and not personal. So reach out to people you actually know, and that's going to be more effective, awesome. I think. And then I think just be authentic. Don't be afraid to tell your story. And there's a lot of people, and within our team, I'm part of a team that's pretty big, and we have different calls. And I try to stress to people, hey, do not say I told you so. This is not the time to be sarcastic. This is not the time to rub it into people's face. This is not the time to just share doom and gloom and repost what you're seeing, all the negativity from CNN and MSNBC or whatever. Like, make it personal, make it real. Don't just share all the stuff that everyone else is already seeing.
Well said.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of where, that's...
No, I laugh a little bit because I think some of my stuff might just be random stuff that I comment about, but I agree with you. It should be made personal, man. Well said. I like that.
Well, I mean, of course we're going to do that too, right? Like,
no, it's okay. Like, I know you're not attacking anyone. I'm with you, man. I'm just
saying I think it's more effective and that's what I preach about what you do is, you talk about the facts and the figures and the news, but you also personalize it. And I think there's a big opportunity. People feel there's a certain innate trust that people have with medical professionals or law enforcement or emergency professionals right now, because they're like, oh, we need someone who's licensed, who knows what they're doing, who can handle this emergency situation. And as financial and real estate licensed professionals, we are the same for people's financial lives. And it's really thinking of yourself in that regard. Like, we are out there in a war zone doing triage right now. Like, people are literally losing their lifetime of savings in a week.
Wow.
And people are, not knowing what to do about their home. Fortunately, I was able to close that home in time, and the buyers are super excited. And it's a fireman and a nurse, and it's their first home. And it was just like, it was a process, but we just stayed consistent, and we stayed hopeful, and we, we're diligent about it. And I don't know, I guess just stay organized and stay positive and be compassionate.
Well, sorry, you there? Sorry about that. Jordan, you there?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, I want to thank you, man. Be positive, stay compassionate, leverage social in your favor. So the other question is, and no one's really prepared for this, what is your prediction as far as how long you think we're going to be in this sort of shutdown or lockdown mode, even though it's not holding us back from production? How long do you think it's going to be before we can go out there and sort of live our normal daily lives again?
I think not. I don't think we're ever going back to complete normal, but I think relative normal. I think probably at least a couple weeks. A couple weeks to a couple months. I mean, Governor Newsom said yesterday, not officially, but basically, like, be ready for the school year to be over.
Wow.
And that like little things like that, people don't understand. Everyone wants to look at the stock market. Well, first of all, a lot of people aren't even invested in the stock market at all, right? So What about the people who literally rely on driving Uber or making tips every night, or who can't afford childcare and have to decide between risking their health and feeding their family? I mean, those are the decisions people are making right now.
Crazy facts that you share.
So on one hand, as a human being, my heart breaks and it's crazy, and I'm just trying to do everything I can to help people. As a business person, there's people that learned from 2008 and stacked cash and now are going to be able to come in and buy stocks for pennies on the dollar and buy homes for pennies on the dollar. I mean, I don't think the real estate market's going to crash overnight like 2008, because this isn't a real estate related problem. And I think there's a lot of lending regulations that came after this last crash to kind of ensure that this wouldn't happen. But you know, the issue is going to be employment, right? So there's people, I heard, not me personally, but I heard someone on a call this week who was about to close on a house, lost their job, and had to fall out of escrow.
Wow.
And I'm sure that's going to continue happening. Then there's also going to be people that are going to come in, and so it's a good time. It would have been a better time to sell a month ago. It's still going to be a good time to sell because the low inventory, and there's still buyers that are qualified because of the low rates, and certain industries are going to be solid employment-wise, but others are just completely wiped out. And so I think that might be where the recruiting comes in if you're building an agency or you're building a team in real estate. But yeah, it's crazy times out there. A lot of people are unprepared, but the people that are prepared, and it's a time that's leadership is needed, obviously on a federal level, but also on a local level. So whether you have just yourself or whether you have a team, like we're all leaders, right? You have,
Amen.
If you have 10 people, you know, I don't know if it was Gary that said this, but I heard recently, like, instead of worrying about getting, you know, thousands of followers, why don't you just focus on the couple hundred that you have and give them value and build that community? And so that's something that you do that I appreciate. Anyway, yeah, so just really, you know, obviously we're concerned globally, but act and think locally as well. And check on people. I talked to my grandma earlier today. You know,
shout out to grandma, man.
Make phone calls and make sure people are okay. And at the same time, it's like, holy, like, wow, like this, you know, we've been through this before. On the other hand, this is unprecedented. This is different than 9/11. This is different than 2008. This is, there's been the flu. There's been different epidemics and pandemics over the years. But in this current generation has not faced anything like this, to the point where the reaction from the government worldwide, I mean, stupid things like, wait, the March Madness is canceled? Like, as an American, that's like, wait, what? Now it's getting real. So when all of a sudden, you know, people's daily comforts and things that they would never, you know, take for granted are canceled, it's changed. You know, I'm seeing there's still spring breakers down in Florida, like partying it up, and it's like, oh my God.
Right, yeah, they don't get it. Well, I'm hoping that's going to change real soon. Jason, Jordan, I'm sorry, not Jason.
It's okay.
Jordan, I want to thank you though for jumping on this. This is someone that's probably coming our way. So jumping on this live, guys. If you don't know this man, follow him. Make sure you check him out. He's located in Northern California, insurance, real estate. Thank you for the value, man. And I want to connect with you soon. When's your podcast going up?
We're going to figure that out, and I would love to connect with you on that as well.
Done,
so we'll
man.
be in touch. We'll be in touch. I appreciate your time, brother. Thank you.
Done. Jordan, be safe, man. I'm gonna see you soon. All right, take care and go A's. Go.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right, man. Be safe. So, guys, if you're on this live, we're actually talking about the current, you know, I guess the state of the world. But I'm in California. We are in day 1 of quarantine. It's unreal because we're still able to conduct our business, but in a whole different world. And I'm so conflicted while I'm going about my business doing